you kind of Masters world champion, or what's the type?
Yeah.
2 years in a row
2 times. Yeah.
with a significant injury in the middle.
With 2 significant injuries. Yeah, we sent them to boot camp. They're back now. They're
back,
looking good.
trim.
They're in
trim.
shape. Yeah.
They
were embarrassing, whereas we're proud of them again now.
I was really intrigued in terms of the Bike Park Wales journey, because I bet from the outside looking in, it's like, oh yeah, it's just happened, and but I bet the work that's gone on behind closed doors, the work that went on in those 3 or 4 years of from the concept to actually opening your doors, that for me, I bet that was kind of quite hairy in terms of trying to get things moving.
All of that. Yeah, 100%. About 3 minutes later, I get a phone call. You okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Have you crashed a car? Oh, yeah, I have. You okay? Yeah. Dickhead. Hangs up.
Welcome to episode 4 of Appetite for Combustion. I'm Jamie, this is Toby, and we're joined by none other than Rowan Sorrell. Great to have you along, mate.
Really pleased to be here. Cheers.
Welcome, sir.
You okay?
Good.
I'm good. Yeah, definitely.
How was the journey down?
Moist. Yeah. Rolling along the M4 in torrential rain, really. So it's fine, but we're mid-February in Wales.
It's perfect weather for Welsh weather, isn't it? Perfect weather. Can't fault it, mate. Can't fault it. So, if I was to summarise Rowan Sorrell, would it be?
Summarising him at the start, are you?
Yeah, summarise him at the start, like a headliner. Not only fans.
Is this a therapy session?
Are we talking about OnlyFans or not? No. All right. Sorry. Right. Cut. More
Beep.
editing. Beep. So I would say a well-respected mountain bike rider, downhill mountain bike rider. Well-respected by yourself, probably. Yeah. No. Well-respected.
Depends who you ask.
Yeah. And would you call yourself an entrepreneur or a business entrepreneur, or would you put a French accent on it? Entrepreneur.
Yeah, I guess I would, but not a serial entrepreneur. But it's obviously been a big part of my life.
Cool. All right. Okay. And love the travel.
Love the travel. And that's, I think we'll get into that in a second as well. That's my favourite line. We'll get into that in a second. In terms of two wheels, though, let's start with mountain biking, I reckon. What do you think? Because you've competed at a high level, or fairly high level, I think. I don't know much about it, actually, but I believe you've competed at a high level. When did that start? Was it in school? Was it just play riding, or did you get into competing? Yeah, sure. I started in school. Or, growing up, road bikes, just like everyone, dicking around in the street and jumping off curbs. But, I didn't really know much about mountain biking as a sport until, it's probably like in the comprehensive school. I just remember some kids bringing in a copy of MBUK, and they were showing it around the playground. I was like, what's this?
Yeah.
This looks pretty interesting. And, I guess I reckon probably 14, 15, something like that. I went along to watch my first race.
Because it probably wasn't big back then, was it?
No.
It was like proper small scale.
Yeah. I feel like I've seen within reason the whole growth of the sport.
Yeah.
Like obviously mountain biking was established before, I was a kid, but really like the growth to what mountain biking is now has happened in the time that I've been doing it. And it's been kind of mad, like when you look back and reflect on riding back then to now, and I guess just how it's become a mainstream sport, whereas back then you were kind of the odd person or the odd kid in town if you were into biking. So it's very different.
So when did the competing start then? When did you start? Was that straight away?
Yeah, soon after that. Yeah, so I went along, watched this race, which was cross country race, and thought it looked really it looked cool, and I fancied having a go. So I had a pretty basic bike then. Did a first cross country race and loved it. Yeah, okay. Thought it was great. Saved up all my money and managed to sort of cobble together again, looking back, like a pretty basic bike is like
Yeah.
fully rigid, no suspension, rubbish brakes. I mean, everything. When you look back now, everything was rubbish.
Well, it's advanced massively. Though,
Yeah.
isn't it?
And did a couple of cross country races. Then there was a winter series that was sort of Forest of Dean, that Chepstow, like in sort of southeast Wales and into like the forest. That was great. Really enjoyed it. Did okay at those. And then the big thing that changed for me was the next summer in school, someone was like, "Oh, we're going to go to a downhill race." I was like, "Okay, that sounds good," because that's the bit I enjoyed in the cross country. And it was in Aberdare Park in South Wales.
Is there much downhill in Aberdare Park?
There's not a great deal.
Yeah.
Like, again, like compared to what we would, went on to race, it's pretty tame. But at the time, bikes were pretty lame, so you didn't need a lot of like elevation to have a good track. So a few of us from the school went up. One of the parents took us up and we camped the weekend there in Aberdare. That was an eye opener.
Do you have a tetanus before or during? Or?
Honestly, it was we must have been like, I think we were still 15 then. Camped for the weekend. Went down into town, bought some cans of lager from the corner shop, and we had a great time. But like seeing Aberdare on a Friday night at 15 was
that's what I mean. It gets wild at that, doesn't it? Or
it was class. And then did this race and absolutely loved it. And that was that. It's like, I was just hooked. I bet
it was quite tame though, wasn't it? What was the track like compared to like some of the tracks?
I mean,
you ride
compared to what it's evolved into, that was like the very start of downhill, really. And the tracks were, they were pretty tame. Like, but you were on rubbish bikes and you still go as fast as you could. So that's the challenge. But you're kind of riding down a glorified, like, a little bit of woodland, a little bit of fields, sort of slalom corners. It was a few years later. It was actually the Dragon Downhill series. I don't know if you have heard of that, but that was a Welsh series which started in 99. And they were all across South Wales, and that kind of like pushed the standard of downhill riding and courses in the UK. So that was a big part, I think, of moving mountain biking on in the UK, that race series.
Where did mountain biking originate from? Was it UK?
California.
It was California. Every cool thing originates from California, isn't it?
They've staked the claim. I think there's maybe some contention over where it actually started, but there's definitely a lot of like documented evidence of people riding not on mountain bikes at that time. They called them clunkers, like these sort of adapted beach cruisers, and they'd ride them down the hills in California. So I think that is kind of the birthplace.
Imagine growing up in California in like the 80s and 90s.
Is it the 80s that this was going on in America? Or?
Oof, you're testing me now. I believe so.
Who's Gary Fisher? That name sticks in my head for. Is he American or British?
Yeah, American. So he would have been one of the people in that in that scene. So he's sort of seen as one of the like forefathers of mountain biking, I suppose. And then he went on to create a bike company.
Right. Cool. So you were born in were you born in obviously Wales, Rowan?
Yeah, South Wales. So I
was in the Pontypool area.
No, well, not too far from there, but Killeen. I don't know if you know Killeen. So it's about a few miles outside of Newport. It's nice little village.
Yeah,
nice crematorium there, I think. Isn't it?
I don't think there is. Is one nearby.
Ah, was it right?
Yeah, Killeen's like an old Roman town, so that's what it's kind of famous for, if you like. Tourists come there to come and see. We got like an amphitheater, Roman baths. Roman barracks.
No way, really?
Yeah, you don't know this?
Impressed with that, aren't you? You're impressed.
I'm gonna have
to
go there. Yeah, my daughter's mental into Roman stuff now. So I was going to take her to Rome, but now I can just take her to Killeen.
Just take her to Killeen. It's far cheaper.
Spend down the M4.
Have they got an amphitheatre or not?
Yeah, the amphitheatre is pretty good. To be fair, it's like it's not massive, but it's very well preserved.
Really?
You should go and see it.
Right.
The one thing I would say is the food is not quite as good as Rome, but they got a chip shop.
Fine. Yeah, my daughter's only 9. She doesn't really care about food, to be honest. That's good. Okay, so you haven't moved far from Clean then. You're just down the road.
Yeah,
think.
so I live, it's a 20-minute drive from where I grew up. My parents still live in Cullean. I'm just between Pontypool and Usk.
Okay, all right. So in terms of the competition scene, then obviously escalated. That was your first competition. Then you went into it more seriously. Did you ever consider yourself as like semi-pro or pro, or did you kind of go into it that serious?
I mean, I kind of had aspirations of being pro, I suppose, but I was always working when I was racing. I had sponsorship, and I had support, and I was fortunate enough to go and race on like the World Cup circuit for a few seasons, which as I was sort of progressing racing in the UK, that was always like the aim. It seemed unachievable, if I'm honest. When I was younger, it wasn't like that's what I'm going to do. It just was like, that is the pinnacle of the sport. I would love to be a part of it. Those are the best tracks. You get to travel the world. And just step by step. I didn't have like a set out plan as such. I was just racing, loving it, and steadily improved, and then could see I could go and have a crack at it.
That's a massive achievement, though, isn't it? Because that's like the surf world tour, isn't it? The mountain bike world tour is the championship, isn't it? Is that the main championship?
Yeah.
How many years did you do that? 2, 3?
05 to 09. Sort of on and off. I didn't do like every round because it's all around the world. It's a big budget to do it, but those are the years I had to go.
Fair play.
Yeah.
All your so all your results for the last 25 years are online. I noticed. I had a little Google. Like, mate, you've done incredibly well in like a lot of races and a lot of tournaments and stuff. But all the numbers are all there's a lot of podiums in there. So you've got to be proud of what you've achieved.
Getting this out of him is going to be hard because he's going to be like downplaying.
We know he's a modest, down to earth fella.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it when I had a little read up, did a little bit of homework. That's fair play to you.
Yeah, I mean it's a sport I've loved and still love.
Yeah.
Like especially all the mountain biking, but especially downhill. And in reality, at that level, I'm a pretty average, like mountain bike racer. But locally, I've obviously. I did really well in sort of like all the Welsh series and Welsh races, being Welsh champion, and then I had a break in mountain biking, and then I sort of really have enjoyed it again in like my older years, if you like, and then I've done really well, more recently doing all the events. I guess some people like move away from the sport, but a lot of them seem to come back as well. It is something. It's a great sport in that. It doesn't necessarily have a shelf life. You can keep doing it as you get older.
It's so good for you being in the outdoors and good fitness and keeps you in shape and everything. What about when did you discover moto derived 2-wheelers then?
I knew it was going to go to moto.
In the way that you would probably think, like riding at late 20s. I first I rode like a friend had a Pee-wee 50 or something. I remember when I was in school, he lived out in the country, and went out, I was just like, oh wow, this is awesome. I'm into this. But I just didn't have any sort of. I lived in on a housing estate. It's just not something in my world at that point.
No.
And then when I went to comp school, my best friend. Then a lad called Dale, he got an RM 85 when we were, I think 11 or no, probably 12. And this was kind of like a turning point because I'd been riding push bikes a bit. He had this motorbike, and we used to go to this quarry just outside of Cullean and ride in this quarry. And it was great. Like you get a few people who had motorbikes, and everyone else would just come and take turns and have a go on their bike, and that's what happened on the weekends for a good while. And there's all these things at that time which seemed like massive features as the big bank. The big bank. If you went and saw it now, it's probably not a very big bank, but like that was the challenge. But unfortunately, it's got a sad ending, and he ended up having like a fatal collision in this quarry.
You're joking?
Yeah. So at 12, I'd supposed to be meeting him that day and going there and riding, and I don't really fully remember why, but yeah, I didn't. And then this happened, and yeah, it was like at that age, it was quite hard to process.
Oh my gosh.
And it just put me off motorbikes like completely.
Yeah,
for a while. Like, and obviously you can imagine like my mum, like my parents.
Big
but,
news. Was
but
it
it's sort of putting in perspective, you know, as I got older, then you kind of realize, well, it's not the bike that's caused that. It's like how it was used in that place, because it was kind of unpoliced. There was an access road which you could just, you know, razz up and down, and unfortunately there's a bit of a blind spot. And,
I'm gonna take us off track here, but it went to Barry's in Spain, and you went there, didn't you, with Copeman and I was always worried about that with him, right? Because you're blasting down these. There was a sand section where it was just loads of S-bends, and there was like trees overhanging, and we were tanking along there. And then as we got to the T junction, there's like a little bar or something that we're pulling off, and another enduro load of guys went the other way, and you could hear them like. It's like, what the. I thought it was like a one-way, you know, everyone knows we go this way, guys, right? Okay, so we'll just go around this way. It's another level of danger, that is. I've had those same thoughts, like out there and other places you ride. It's because it's quite intense what you're doing, isn't it? And then you just don't know. You got to try and be aware of that, but you sort of reflect on it sometimes and think, whoa. Yeah, think back, you know, that story. Thinking back on, because we've all ridden bikes on the road and off road, those times where it could have just gone a little bit wrong.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So you had a break for a bit after that, and then you came back to it. Then in your 20s, was it?
Yeah, that's it. Like I say, that was obviously when I was quite young. A group of friends from school were like racing motocross in their teens and 20s, and so after I think I was about 26, 27. Got my first motocross bike, and just started playing around with it a little bit on the side. Mountain biking was still I was still very active in that and doing racing, but that's when I first started riding. Really, really enjoyed it, but I, as you are aware, I am a big fan of riding bikes that you're too big for. So getting into riding mini motorbikes. That was around the same time, and I still do it now. Yeah,
we're coming.
That's a 2024 thing.
I
for
did
spring.
touch on it, but I need to come back to that. That looks fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
It looks like a good scene as well, because there's like that Friday night scene when I met Alex at that practice day. He was saying there's a Friday night session.
When I first got there, so it's a TTR 125, so it's a Yamaha, like they call them farm bikes because they're like really basic, underpowered. They're just for learning to ride off road or running around a farm, and they're for kids really. And then you put a load of like adults on them, and it's great fun. It's like go-karting on mountain bikes because you're going as fast as the thing will go. Yeah, and it's all like even Stevens. So they're brilliant. And it started off like I bought one probably 12 years ago.
Right.
And bit by bit, I was like, you need to get one. And then people would have a go, and then I've got to get one.
Yeah.
And now there must be like 35, 40 people across South Wales with them. Yeah.
And it's addictive as well. Like when I came at your place and I wasn't expecting much because I've ridden like the XR50s, but we were only doing the loop, and it's like so addictive. I was getting off because we were sharing the bike, getting off it, kind of not giving it back. You sure you want to go? Yeah, they're class. It started off, I can remember Krusty Demons of Dirt. Have you ever seen those videos?
Yeah.
The motocross videos? They used to ride not the XR, the Z50s, didn't they?
Yeah.
Can remember the Jeff Emig, the old school boys doing it.
That's the first bike I had. It was like a Chinese copy of a Z50. So this is where it started. I might have been a bit younger actually when I first got that, but I remember riding through McDonald's drive-through on one of them at about 3 a.m.
Did you get served or not?
No.
Oh.
Spoil sports.
I had a 2000 XR50 and I've still got it, and I rode it to death, and it's like flat as a fart now. But
you're lucky you still got it though, because that guy from Emmerdale tried to nick it off you, didn't he?
Yeah. So I think I got to be careful because Ollie knows him, didn't he? The guy, this is all bloody Gareth Hockey, right?
Okay, yeah.
Have you met Gareth? Do you know Gareth Hockey?
I know who he is, but
So I used to work for Gareth years ago when I left school, and if he's listening to this, he stitched me up many times. But we were at Sheffield. I think it was Air Wars in Sheffield, right? So we were doing which is the freestyle jump, and there was an XR50 race. So I raced it, and then Gareth said, "Oh, you need to lend your bike to the celebrity racing." So this guy from Emmerdale had it. After the race, he started wheeling it out of the stadium. So I kind of ran after him and said, "Mate, that's my bike." He goes, "No, it's not. It's mine." I was like, "No, mate, that's my bike. I just lent it to you through Gareth." And he said, "No, Gareth said that if I do the celebrity race, then I can have the bike." I was like, "Well, Gareth was lying to you because that's my bike." And almost started rocking in terms of
playing a tug
giving
of
that
war.
bike. Yeah. He was like, "My bike? No, it's my bike." Yeah, so
Brilliant.
it was. So I've still got it, luckily.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, but
Nice,
it's
nice little collectible item.
yeah. But I don't
Um,
think they'll compete with the TTRs though, because they've only got like 10-inch wheels, so
Yeah.
Nah.
it's not good.
So you didn't compete in motocross then at all? You just did
No,
that for
never
fun,
done
free
that,
riding?
yeah.
Same with enduro and trials? Have you done any competitions for that?
No. Just always been, purely for fun.
Brilliant.
Motorbikes, yeah.
Brilliant. Stuck to what you know and done well with it, to be fair. So yeah. So
Wouldn't it be good? I'm just thinking now, if there's that many people doing it with TTRs, it'd be class to do like a TTR festival somewhere over a weekend where you have like races. What's that place in the one that Sam from Baffle was on about? There's a race down London way.
Oh, yes.
Mallee?
Mallee
No,
Mile.
Mallee, is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got a.
Yeah, they
we
do
won't
like-
put this out because they'll steal the idea.
yeah,
but
they do
Okay.
like football and stuff, don't they? They have like beer barrels and
Yeah.
they have
No, it looks class.
that looks like an injury waiting to happen. Mine, the football.
The football does, yeah. But
Getting stuck in.
some of the other events they have there looks good. It looks like a great event.
Yeah,
Gonna try and make it this year.
Yeah, I
think.
went
Yeah.
last year. It was amazing.
Did you?
Really,
Yeah.
spectacular. Really good.
Yeah.
I
I might take my Thruxton then. That'd be perfect for that, wouldn't it?
just put a knobbly
Oh, yeah.
tyre on it. You can do the sprint.
Yeah, do sprint. Yeah.
I like
1200. I'm like a wet rag hanging off the back of it.
they had like speedway bike against, I don't know, something weird like that someone's made in a shed and put like a MT-07 engine in or something like that. So there's all sorts of quirky stuff there, having a dabble. So work-wise, I didn't know what you were doing before Bike Park Wales. What was that?
Immediately before Bike Park Wales, I was running a trail design and build company,
Yes.
so which I set up in 2004.
Right.
It's called Back on Track, which has now been renamed to On Track, just in case anyone's looking. But so that's what I was doing immediately before, and obviously the experience that I had from doing those projects. We used to build trail design and build tracks for a range of clients, but it quite often be like the Forestry Commission or a local council, occasionally private customers. And that kind of obviously was a big part towards the concept and the idea of Bike Park Wales. But yeah, prior to that, a few different things, but really like in terms of like that career journey, it was running that business was kind of the stepping stone, if you like, into Bike Park Wales.
Was there a point in time where you went, right, Bike Park Wales will happen? Because what was it called before? Was it Gethin before?
Gethin Woodland, yeah.
Gethin Woodland.
That's sort of the name of the site. Yeah.
So when was there a time where you went, right, there's something here that we can do, or did it kind of morph into that because you were building trails there and thought natural progression?
No, there was a time for sure where it moved from a back of the mind idea, like it was always kind of there, or it'd been there for a number of years, to like we need to try and do this and work on this and try and make it happen. So that was 2009.
Right. Okay. So not long ago. That's not, considering how well established it is now. That's not that long ago, to be fair.
Yeah, it's
because I remember going there in 2015 and it'd be really well established with all the infrastructure you got there and stuff. I was expecting it to be like 20 odd years ago.
Okay. No. It was 2009 when I got together with the other founders, so the partners who we worked together to make it happen, and sort of discussed the idea and said, look, what do you think?
Okay.
So Martin, who's one of the other founders, we'd been riding together, and we'd worked a little bit together before.
Okay.
And I just had a massive injury on the mountain bike. I was off the bike for like 6-7 months with a broken arm and dislocated shoulder and surgery on that and stuff. So that kind of like sharpened the mind. It's like it felt like a turning point for me, where up to that point I'd been trying to run the trail building company and race to a reasonable level and trying to do both. And I kind of got to a point where I realized I was trying to do both badly, because it's just you're spreading yourself too thinly. So I think that was I was 29, and I just remember thinking, right, you're off the bike anyway, but maybe now is the time to like knuckle down and focus on the work side, step back on the racing, and obviously hopefully still enjoy your riding and so that was one part of it. And then the next bit was actually making that step to say, like, let's try and do this bike park, and that was, like I say, through a conversation, me and Martin, we were both at a point where I think we were both in that similar position where we wanted to do something and take the next step, and then both of our wives got on board, and we formed a team, and so that's 2009. We actually opened the doors in 2013, so it's like a 4-year sort of project to get
it going. And I guess that's the kind of negotiation with, was it NRW back then, or was it Forestry Commission back then, I guess?
When we initially spoke to them, it was Forestry Commission Wales, and it morphed into NRW 2004, I think, during the process.
14.
Amazing, mate.
So so that, with any startup, that's the kind of, because it was ultimately a startup, wasn't it? That's the risky period, isn't it? Because I guess you got no income, you have loads of investment. Has it really been done in Britain before that? There's not really
not prior to that. No,
there's not.
No, we were. Again, I think when it's easy when you look back to almost forget and miss this, but we had to kind of hope. We had to rely on a lot of gut feeling, and belief that we could create something that would build this support and momentum and create a certain experience that we were pretty confident people would really like. But there wasn't that example where you could go, well, it's working over, it's working in Scotland, so we'll do it in Wales. So it did feel, it felt as much a leap of faith as it did also that we believed in it and we believed we could do it. So it was tricky.
Because when you're at that stage, you can put a business case together, I guess. You've got no precedence to say, like, you could punch those figures in terms of we're going to get X amount of riders through the door and this, and base your business on that. But you probably just didn't, you had that gut feeling and thought, but you didn't know. Because I still can't believe how busy it is there in a weekday, because I've been there in the weekday, and it's rammed, isn't it? It's like, how many riders do you get through the door these days in a week?
I mean, it depends. Like summer is obviously busier than winter, and in the summer it's pretty busy right through the week. We can have a very busy day for us, could be like, and that'll be on a weekend, but we could have 500 riders on site, which is crazy. Like, I pinch myself and think, when we were planning it, it was hard to foresee that. We had a vision, we sort of had a belief in where it could go, but mountain biking's just boomed since it launched.
I bet revisiting that kind of that business case, whatever it was, and seeing what figures you put in, that would be interesting to go, right, we think we're going to get this many riders through the door to what you're getting now, because that's a hell of a growth, isn't it? And it's consistent, isn't it? It's not I in the summer when I've been, and we'll talk about, I don't think you know about this, but they're setting up a sponsorship for us, Bike Park Wales. We're just in negotiations now. I think is it 2 bikes each you're going to give uplift, and was it chauffeur? Were you going to come and pick us up?
Is it from Swansea?
From Swansea. I think that's what we were talking. That's
Get
what
to
we were
the
talking
chopper.
about. Yeah, get in the chopper. But I bet that would be interesting to understand. Yeah, I bet you didn't think you were going to get that volume of riders through the door.
Mate,
No,
fair
it was, it's your best estimate. And exactly as you said, we didn't have like hard data to look at or direct comparables.
Yeah.
I spent a season in Leger in France, in the Alps. Martin had worked in Whistler. Yeah. So like they were kind of the core places in the world at that point. But
so
they were different.
They're ski resorts which turn to bike
resorts. Yeah, exactly
when
that.
Snow melts,
So
is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So they're big ski resorts.
Yeah.
They have all the infrastructure there, and then they just switch.
Nice.
In the summer, they build a small trail network. Well, Whistler's got a huge trail network, but
it's a bit embarrassing.
Everything's there, so it's kind of a different model when you think you're building something from the ground up just for mountain bikes, and it's going to be 12 months of the year. Right. So yeah, there wasn't like that direct example we could draw upon at that time.
No. A bit embarrassing. It's not Leger, it's Les Getz. It's pronounced. Yeah, it's a bit embarrassing.
Sorry about that.
But did you ever think of ski lifts and that sort of stuff?
Yeah,
I remember you saying that was one bit that you were thinking of. But
I remember a very random meeting in a pub in the Wye Valley with a very, very eccentric French chap who was the agent for Pommer lifts, I think.
Right.
Very bizarre meeting.
Really?
But that was, we were looking at everything, like in terms of feasibility and exploring things. We studied the potential of installing like a second-hand lift, because obviously budget, and capital for us was a big problem. Like what was achievable and realistic would determine what essentially what we could look at. But we did kind of try and explore all options.
Yeah.
So we looked at second-hand lifts. We looked at, we certainly got like a quote for what it might cost to install a new lift, which was crazy.
I bet that's stupid money.
Yeah, it's big money. And we looked at other sort of alternatives like funiculars.
What's that?
Funicular is like a driven railway. So it's a railway with you're either on a wire or you're on
like on a chain or whatever. Yeah.
We looked at those. We looked at.
They got them in Switzerland.
Mountain coast. Yeah, that's right. Mountain coasters, they're called. So they're almost like a theme park type ride where you get driven up in a carriage on a coaster, and then you'd actually have. So you could have an uplift for bikes and a theme park ride coming down. We literally looked at all sorts of things, lots of different ways of using the uplift, kind of as you see it now, where we have transit minibuses. We looked at lots of different vehicles, coaches, buses, all sorts of things. And
because you got like a unimoggy type thing as well, haven't you?
It's a truck, but we looked at unimogs. Yeah,
that's cool.
You name it. At that outset, we kind of tried to work through them all and sanity check what the best way forward was.
Because at the I read the job description the other day. You had a COO job description, didn't you? And reading it was interesting to read because I think it said, we are 5 different businesses essentially. I think under one roof. You got the bike maintenance, the shop, the restaurant, the bike trail maintenance, the uplift, and so that's got to keep you on your toes, setting those up, and then the daily operational of that with 500 riders coming through the door.
Yeah, for sure. But it's a really important part of. I believe that's part of what's made by the success of Bike Wales, because we again, when you think back our formative days when we were planning out pre-launch, we had to make a decision whether we were going to operate all elements or whether we were going to work with partners and outsource things.
Right. Okay.
It wasn't something we deliberated over for a long time, to be honest. I think we were all on the same page that we felt like the reason we wanted to control it is about that sort of consistency of everything being able to work together and a bit of consistency in outlook and approach. So but what comes with that is obviously quite a lot of headaches as well.
I guess keeping that ethos of the mountain bike ethos, if you bring someone else in, that's going to dilute that, I guess, isn't it, in terms of...
It's a risk. That's not to say you can't have different partners and they'd be absolutely fantastic, but it's a risk factor.
We just you're in negotiations with a partner at the moment, and you don't want to. It sounds like you're backtracking then. Yeah. Oh yeah. No.
So Rowan, sorry to just cut you off there.
No, go on, mate.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll touch up. We'll just finish off with bike park chat. What? How can it grow any more? The business now? Is there any room for more growth there? Have you got more land? You can make more trails and stuff like that. Is there more scope there?
Or a second site?
Yeah, there's scope in a number of ways really, but thinking about Gethin Woodland, so Bike Park Wales in Merthyr, there's a couple of things which we would like to do to progress the site.
Yeah.
One is building more trails. It sort of seems fairly obvious, but on a bigger scale is probably the best way of putting it, rather than just like adding a trail here and there. We've done 2 previous planning applications, which has allowed us to do everything that you see today. I've been working for a good while, probably on and off for a couple of years now, to try and get our latest one through. So it's in for planning at the moment. If that's approved, that gives us like the blueprint for, I'd say probably like another 10 years, to be honest. There's a lot more we can do on that site.
Cool.
You know, you're looking at almost probably doubling the trail network.
What is the acreage that you've got there?
So the whole site is, we don't utilize the whole site, but like the forest site is like 2,000 acres.
No way.
The element that we use is about half of that, or just under half. So that's a big part, is obviously trails, because fundamentally that's what we all go for. You know, that's what draws people in. But we want to add some accommodation on site, and just have like an accommodation element. We've got an approved plan for that, and we've got a prototype camping sort of cabin.
Oh, nice.
I think it's like high-end glamping, you know, that we're going for on site in the woodlands. So I think it's going to be really good, and a nice experience, because a lot of people most of our customers, like, it's almost like a higher proportion travel a reasonable distance to come, and they stay overnight, which is fantastic for the area. You know, great for Merthyr. It's one of the reasons the council was so, you know, on board with this. They saw it as a benefit for the local area, and it's not what we will do will be quite small in the scheme of things, so that will still continue, but people have an option.
That's cool.
To stay on site,
because they do travel for miles, don't they? Whenever whoever I park up next to when I go there, they're never local. They're like always like come from all over the place, which is insane, isn't it?
Will they crash over in the car park then? Are they allowed to do that now?
Not at the moment, no. So we do close the site at the moment, but once we have the accommodation option, we'll then set it up so that people with camper vans could, you know, pay a fee and have facilities and stay on site.
PowerPoint and like showers and stuff.
Yeah, it's just changing, I guess it's changing the operation of a business from something where everyone's rotated and then you lock the site up to 24 hours a day. You know, it'll be a big change for us, but it's something that we've, you know, it's in our plans. It's what we.
How do you make sure that like the site is clear at the end when there's obviously such a large area? How do you make sure everyone's out of there when the gates are locked? Yeah,
so we don't sweep the trails. It's just not possible to do it on that scale. But what we do is a sort of security check measure, safety measure. If you came up and booked in and you were riding on your own, you'd be asked. Yeah. So when you check in, they say, are you riding on your own? If you're riding on your own, we ask if we can take your vehicle reg.
Right.
And then at the end of the day, if there's a vehicle left and it aligns with someone who's solo riding, then we know like there's an emergency call go out. So that's just something we've introduced. But there's just a sort of perimeter check down at the bottom, looking for vehicles and making sure everyone is off site.
Yeah. Did I dream it, or is there going to be like a ski resort in Merthyr Way?
There's a serious proposal for that.
No.
Yeah.
And like an indoor ski resort, is it?
Like Tamworthy type thing, is it?
Yeah, Tamworth on steroids.
Is it really?
Yeah, the plan is actually, it's really impressive. I think it will be the largest indoor slope in Europe.
Wow.
Or second largest, if not. It's big.
That'd be nice.
And it's on land kind of adjacent. So in terms of if it goes ahead and it's developed, brilliant. You know, you've got mountain biking, skiing, like two complementary activities, and it'll be again, you probably got hopefully like the best facilities in the UK for both for mountain biking and skiing. So yeah, I mean we've met the landowners and the developers, and it looks promising, but you never know with these things. It's a huge sum of money, so whether it will actually come through to fruition, it's hard to say, but we hope so. It
won't just bring skiing with it, 'cause like Tamworth, it's got indoor skydiving, it's got all sorts in there, isn't it? So that's going to be
it's leisure. It's like a leisure village, so there's a water park and hotels, things like that.
That'd be nice.
Yeah,
that will inject a hell of a lot of cash into that area as well.
Property prices should go up.
Yeah, we all move into
Toby
Merthyr.
the tycoon going to buy a little strip of terraces.
Yeah,
he's going to be on Zoopla after this meeting, I think.
Just losing money left, right, and centre. That's what my investments seem to do. Let's come back to so I think we skipped over it because you did allude to the fact that you had some success recently on the mountain bike.
Mm-hmm.
Are you kind of Masters World Champion, or what's the type? Yeah. 2 years in a row.
2 times
with a significant injury in the middle.
Oof.
With 2 significant injuries. So I had I guess it would be 3 years ago now. I snapped my ACL in my left knee and tore the meniscus. And during the rehab from that, that's when I decided I wanted to do Masters Worlds, just so I had something like locked in as a focus. And when you work through like fairly intensive rehab, you do feel like it's a hard and a long path, but you as you go through it, you sort of start to feel stronger, and you know you get motivated to like challenge yourself. So I just wanted something to focus on. Raced it that year, or the spring afterwards. Sorry.
Yeah. When was that? 22? Was it 22 or 20?
So I did it 23 and 22. Yes.
Yeah.
So that was 22. Won that race, which was out in Patagonia, which was amazing. Like I didn't, I wasn't expecting that, and it was a massive highlight. And
did you have mechanical as well? Did you have something?
I'll come on to that now.
Right,
so so that was the following year. So as I say, having a bit of a break from downhill, it was just really good. I got a new downhill bike with a different brand because I'd ridden for Orange mountain bikes for like 20 years, and I changed to Trek, who were a supporter of Bike Park Wales, and I just kind of wanted to give it a go, and went and did that race. Absolutely loved it. And I kind of had in my mind then, right, well, I'll do a few more races now, just because something changes when you race when you're a bit older. It's very much like you just appreciate it for what it is.
Yeah.
You don't have all the like when I tried doing those World Cups, it's what I wanted to do, and I was driven to do it, and I wanted to do well, but the whole thing is just super stressful.
Yeah, I bet it is.
And you're always like beating yourself up about your results and thinking you should ride better and everything like that. But when you do it a bit older, it's just like it is what it is. I'll go as fast as I can. If I do good, great. If I don't, I'll have had a great time. So it's very different outlook.
How great would it be to have that mentality when you're younger, though, but the competitiveness as well? It would be
I mean, it's the whole thing. Like if you knew what you know now, it's often easy to look at that. So in August, the year after that, I had a really bad injury to my right leg. I basically stamped my foot down going pretty fast on the mountain bike, just trying to avoid a crash. I was kind of crashing and tried to save it. And it was like a shotgun had gone off in my knee. It, if you imagine, my tibia came up, smashed into my femur and shattered. So it's called a tibial plateau fracture, but it broke into like a massive chunk came off the side, and like the bit of bone that the ACL attaches to is just off. It was just like shattered on the top.
Was that the one you rehabbed as well? Or
no, it was the other one. So I've now got two pretty bad knees. Well, they're actually not so bad given, but they've had a tuning.
Yeah.
So I went through another like long rehab on that, and it was tough. Like, and I'm still, I'd say, you know, like 2 years on, it's still like I work on it constantly. But I can do everything I want. But I'm very aware that it's had the injury.
Because I'm keeping on interrupting you, sorry. But when we went away for a couple of days riding, you were always stretching it out, that and your arm. You're always doing, so you continue to do that. That takes some. I'm terrible at that sort of stuff because I got a bad knee, but I never do the kind of any rehab stuff.
Yeah, but
it takes dedication.
It's fundamental ultimately. You know, you just won't be able to do it without it, and I can feel it, so I feel like I have to. So yeah, I kind of thought, well, that's that. You know, I won't be doing that race again.
Yeah.
And I was just getting on with my rehab, trying to just get fit so I could get back to riding for fun, you know, in the summer. And the race was in April again, and I think we got to like end of Feb. Maybe this might have even been the start of March. It was really close to the race, and we had an event up at Bike Park Wales where a lot of current sort of British pro racers we called it like a race, not a race.
Right.
So it just meant they came up. We had official timing, and they could all get some pre-season riding against the clock.
Yeah.
Great for them. Good for us to have like that profile of riders there. And I was like, oh, if they're going to be there, I hadn't ridden a downhill bike in ages because of this. But I was like, oh, well, it'd be a shame not to just ride it. So I'll just have a go. And I kind of rode it, and it was like, I actually felt all right. You know, it really surprised myself. I felt all right. And my times were like, pretty good. I was like, and it's just, you can't help it. If you're competitive, you've just got that thing. And I was like, oh, maybe I should go to the World Champs.
Your memory kind of blocks it out, I guess.
And it was like literally in 3 weeks' time. So I like booked on to a load of uplifts, which is kind of like how you practice. So I rode a bit at Bike Park Wales. I went to W, another bike park, for a couple of weeks, and was like, very last minute, I was like, I feel all right. I'm going to sod it. I'm going to go. Yeah. Book the flights. Actually went on a solo mission on that one, went on my own. And
no way. Bloody hell.
Yeah, and you know, you go all the way out there. It's a big old, you know, expense and commitment. And so what you were coming to, the mechanical, I felt like there was a race the week before. So they have it's almost like a warm, it was a South American Cup. So it's like all the countries in South America have a championships.
And where was this? This wasn't Patagonia again?
Patagonia, yeah. So they'll do a venue for 2 years and then it moves on.
Okay, right, okay.
And the course was incredible there. So I was like, I knew I wanted to go to that one. Did that race and I won it, like the pre-race. Now, not everyone's there, but there were some people there. And I was like, okay. Yeah. You know, it's encouraging, you know. Yeah. So then came to the actual week of the World Champs, and you have like a qualifying run or a seeding run. And the seeding run, I qualified first, which again, I was like, okay, this is mad. Yeah, so it's like, you got to try and put that to back of your mind and just, you know, you can't think about that. You've just got to go as fast as you can on your race run. Yeah, it adds pressure. Just trying to like kind of get myself in the zone, dropped in, got into a good run. Like you know, I was in the right headspace, and halfway down the track, my chain came off. And I must have had, I don't know, it happens quick. So like 5 seconds of just processing what the hell's going on. Because your immediate thing is, I've just flown halfway around the world. You get one shot and it's done. It's
so over. You wouldn't they wouldn't say, oh, you've had a mechanical
no. That's not how it works. That's what makes the sport exciting as well. It's one run, you get one chance. Yeah. You've got to perform, and if it goes wrong, you got to lick your wounds and get on with it. So my immediate thing was, it's done. And then I was like, it was a pretty steep track. Obviously, if it had like a long pedaling section, you're stuffed. Yeah. And then I was just thinking, right, just keep your momentum. Let's give it a go. But the main thing I was concerned about is quite often what happens when your chain comes off. It slaps around, and then it can catch in your back wheel, and then it wraps up, and it'll just rip your mech off, rip all the spokes at your back wheel, and your bike just blows up, and you're done. So that's what I was most worried about. So I was sort of like trying to ride as fast as I could whilst trying to nurse, like you're trying to nurse the bike a little bit and be mindful of what it's doing. But yeah, amazingly, thankfully it managed to get down the rest of the track. Had no idea whether I was going fast on, because there's bits where you would pedal and I couldn't pedal.
Okay.
But I was also like trying to carry speed, you know.
Momentum.
And I could just, as you're coming into the finish, you can hear like the PA and you could hear, it's all in Spanish, and I could hear like it's getting excited. And I was like, I don't know what's going on here. And then you ride in, and then there's a cheer, and I was like, shit. I think, I got beat. It hasn't worked out. Chains go off. Because the guy who'd qualified second was from Argentina. So I was thinking, like, that's what the crowd's excited about. And then someone else just come up to me and said, "Oh, you won." And I was just like, "What?" Yeah, it was mad. Yeah, it was mad. It was just like, it's more like the relief of the work that you put in.
Yeah.
Like those injuries, you go through the mill with them. You know, you do go through the grinder. So that was more like what I enjoyed about that.
Yeah.
It was just
good
like,
effort, mate.
So that was
not giving up when you had all these injuries, though. You've just kept on going.
Yeah, I've had a lot.
Yeah, a lot of people would have just thrown the towel, and you've kept on going.
Yeah,
So
I think if
a lot
I
of
would,
respect for that.
yeah, if you got to really enjoy what you do to keep doing it when, you get these injuries. Like I've had it feels like more than my fair share, but then also on the flip side, I know, I'm grateful for like the fact that I can still ride my bike, and it could be worse.
The volume of riding you've done, like you mentioned, like all the results you've done, and all, it's kind of, I guess, you've had a lot for the average person, but for what you've done in your lifetime, then probably it's not too bad, is it? But in terms of it is bad, but not. But in terms of the injuries, a lot of people go into a dark hole, don't they? In that, and kind of you hear a lot of people get addicted to painkillers and all that sort of stuff. You see, like I've only known you probably same time as you've known you, probably 4 or 5 years, I guess. But you seem a really like level-headed. Nothing really seems to faze you. Is that true though? During those dark times of the injuries, is there kind of, how do you handle it?
No, I think on the whole, that's probably fair. Like I feel like I've certainly had to learn to cope with them, and I think I have learned to handle them quite well. My wife might say different, because for sure, like when you're holed up and you can't walk and you're stuck in a house or whatever, then understandably you can get down on it, but the longer term, I've always got that like longer term outlook of what's going to happen, where what you're working towards. So I think it's not easy, but I think it's just a process. You just sort of, you have your little couple of days of feeling sorry for yourself, and then you're just like, right, get on with it. It's happened.
And a goal, I guess, getting a goal in to kind of get there.
Yeah, and I think it's like, to some extent, it's kind of important to let yourself have that little whatever you want to do, like self-pity or because you just need to flush that out of your system. So just have it, get it done.
I've done that now for 15 years, so I'm just at the back of it now. So my self-pity stage, so I'm just getting out of that. But I don't think I've had a couple of injuries racing motocross, nothing as bad as you, but I've always struggled big time, especially when you're in, like, I was obsessed with it when I was younger. It sounds similar to you. I didn't care about work. I didn't care about anything other than riding. From the age of like 15 to 31, I guess, was a really intense time. And whenever I was injured, I really struggled because I just didn't know what to do. I didn't have I was so one-dimensional. I didn't have any other interests at all. Nothing. Yeah,
no, I can totally relate to that. And I think it again, it's just like age in a way, and experience helps, doesn't it? Yeah, the worst probably time for that was I was 22 or 23, broke my tib fib, and it was at that point exactly like you say, whereas literally all I wanted to do was ride my bike, and I was trying to work my way towards racing the World Cup. I actually did it at a race where I just the goal for that race was to win the points I needed to race the first World Cup. So to go and do that first race on the World Cup series. Yeah. And it was over 2 days. And on the first day, I think I won the first race. I was first or second. Yeah. And it basically gave me the points to do the World Cup. So, and then the second day was the second race. So I went in second day and was going for it. And I just was carried away like red mist, trying to like no break a section, clipped a tree, come off, hit a tree by there, and leg just snapped around it.
Is that clip's on YouTube, isn't it? I think.
I don't know.
I'm sure
it is on video.
I've seen a video of that, and I never knew you at the time.
Did you have to ride that second day then? Because you already had the points on the first day.
No, I didn't have to, but it was never. I never like think
you're just gonna go for it, aren't you?
Yeah. It's just because it's part of the like British series you're doing at the time. Yeah. And then I just remember being the aftermath of that. I was in Merthyr Hospital, and I think it was probably a junior doctor, but he came up and he explained what I'd done. I mean, it's fairly obvious to me, but in a bit more like detail and what they were going to do to fix it. And I said the first thing I asked at that point was like, oh, when can I get back on the bike? When can I ride my bike? And he just sort of like chuckled, sort of a bit of a wry smile, chuckled to himself. Said, oh no, you won't be riding a bike again. What? And it literally cut me in half. Like it really did. Like I that was the one time where I really struggled with injury. And again, I now know that it was just like a passing comment. He doesn't understand the impact of his words. But
that's no excuse though. You kind of you should. And a lot of recovery from injuries, I guess, is a lot of hope. Like having a goal, I guess, that hope. And surely as a responsibility as a doctor, how many times do you hear, oh, you'll never walk again, or you'll never do this again? And those that are so determined go, no, fuck you, I'm going to do it and going to do it. So there's a bit of a responsibility there. My mate, Dom, had a similar kind of set of events to you. So I was his mechanic, actually, in 2008, and he won the British Motocross Championship, right? And it was quite a testing. It's hard winning a championship, isn't it? Because you have to string things together, right? So it was a big thing. And then the next weekend in motocross, you go out with the number 1 plate. So it's a big thing. So he just did a local event with the number 1 plate, and he was going around practice and just clipped a fence post. It was only in practice, not going fast, and hit his shoulder, and literally his shoulder met that shoulder. And I won't go into it too much because it was a dark time for him. But even now he can't lift his. It was debilitating. He still, I'm sure he's won the Vets Championship twice after. Mm-hmm. But and that shows the mentality of those people like yourself, because he literally has to lift his arm onto the bike and he kind of rides with his elbow in, but still hauls ass. But similar to you, like massive high, like you. Qualifying for the Worlds, your dream, and then injury. That it's tough. You don't like these professional athletes. You don't understand what they go through. Well, a lot of people don't, do they?
No, and it is interesting, sort of following different sports and kind of trying to understand that. But it's like sport is like life condensed, isn't it? Yeah. You get those peaks and troughs.
Yeah, and it is, isn't it? It's because it's normally quite a condensed period of time as well. It's like a business, I suppose, in a way, because you get highs and lows in a business, like but they have to be optimal all the time, don't they? And I think mental. Anyway, there was something else I was going. That was the other thing I was going to say. Then is so you obsessed with bikes and you work bikes. Now I don't know whether you guys know, but I used to skydive. I do a lot of skydiving. But you see a natural progression in skydiving, right? You go there. It's a certain character that skydives, right? But you go there and they normally have an addictive personality type thing. So they get addicted to it. You skydive all the time. Then you get a job packing the parachutes there. So it pays for a few of your jumps. Then you get a filming gig there. So you film tandems. Then you become a tandem instructor. You see that journey so many times, and people peter off halfway through that journey. But you can also see the love of that sport, just die off, and they see it as a job, and you'll see a tandem instructor walk into a plane, and they fucking hate their job. 9 times out of 10, they hate it.
Yeah.
But that isn't. I suppose it's slightly different with Bike Park Wales because it's not. It's almost giving you a facility to ride rather than like you're not taxiing people down on the back of your bike. It's not like skydiving, I suppose. But has it diluted the love for it at all?
I think across like the whole of my working career, if you like, as soon as bikes became my career, because that's been since I was like 22. So,
Wow.
20 years working in bikes. I was very aware of that. I was very aware of like trying not to get drawn into like too much of the politics behind it, or just it becoming all consuming, and then you lose the love for it. So yeah, it's something I've always been, I suppose, mindful of going into it. And there have been times where it's been all consuming, and I didn't want to ride my bike as much, for sure. But it hasn't lasted, which is obviously a good. And I think it's having like a bit of variety in what I do, like with the biking as well. I don't just like do one type of bikes. Sometimes if you feel all consumed in a scene and there's a lot going on, then you can turn your hand to something else.
That's a good,
But,
because from the outside looking in, doesn't look like it. So you're probably the most obsessed I've seen with biking. I've never seen anyone love bikes as much as you. Apart from you, you guys are probably on par in terms of how much enjoyment you get from it, because you are just kind of like.
I like enduro, yeah.
But anything you like, anything.
Yeah, I like road riding, but yeah, I had a long break off from off-road riding.
Yeah,
and then obviously when I came down to yours, that was a few years ago. I was like new to trials then, but to put a combination of the trials and the motocross together with enduro, I found that's my true love for two wheels now. I'm not really that interested on the road riding at all so much.
Right.
Which is a good thing, really, because
it's a lot.
If you're stressed out and you try to unwind, there's
a lot more risk involved on the road.
I've never seen you ride fast though. I mean, it's always
or on the back wheel.
I'm
loving the enduro, so hopefully we can all get out soon. Tobes has basically got an enduro platform. I'm trying to get him to.
I can't get into enduro. I'm rubbish at it. I need bike skill, and I've got
challenge,
no
isn't it?
bike skill.
It's a challenge.
I've got no bike skill whatsoever.
I just that right wrist round. You'll be good.
Well, on a motocross track, you can kind of get away with that a little bit, can't you? But when it's technical and the routes and stuff, I'm like, this is.
Are we going to have a play next Sunday up in thingy? What's it called? What's it called?
Monster Mountain.
Monster Mountain.
Yeah.
Have you been there before?
I've been to watch a race there. Yeah.
What's it like? Is it?
That was the motocross track I was looking at. It's pretty big. There's some big features on it, but they open it up for enduro riding now as well, and it's not on the motocross track. It's sort of around it.
Right.
They might use bits. I'm not sure.
I don't know whether I'll be into that. I'll go on a motocross track, but I'm not good at. You saw my technical ability on a bike. I can't anything that's technical in front of me. I'm like, what? Can't do it. And there is some footage, right? I found some footage when I was following you on the Tiger, and no one saw this. It was up a little crevasse. It was in the Moon place.
Yeah.
And it was up the crevasse, and I found it. I'll send it to you, all right? Because I thought I'm not going to tell anyone that this happened. But I was following you, and you were just like finesse this. I'm all over the place. My legs are going everywhere, and there was like a rock face here. The bike ends up on the rock face and then like falls on top of me. How I got from underneath it, I don't know. And all I thought was, all right, I need to get from underneath that before you get back, because it'll just be like the Simpsons. So I managed to get that, but I've got it on my GoPro, so I'll send it.
Oh yeah,
I don't know why I got that. Yeah, it's embarrassing.
Nice light bike to fall on you.
Oh yeah, it was. I panicked big time. I did panic.
A little featherweight, quarter of a ton there, was it?
Yeah.
So how about four wheels then? Did you get into cars when you were when you passed your test at like 17 or? Is it something you've got into later on? The old appetite for combustion?
Appetite.
When
Yeah.
did you get that appetite?
Again, it to be honest, like it was always steered by the will and the want to do the biking. Always dictated what I could do with cars. You know, I
Yeah.
never had any money.
No.
So I didn't pass my test when I didn't start driving, I think, till I was 19 or 20.
Yeah.
Had a Nova to start with, as a lot of us did.
Love a Nova.
4 gears.
Love a Nova.
They're great.
You got one from Portugal, didn't you?
I've had a few.
Yeah,
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 I've had
yeah.
a few.
I mean, they're worth good money now if you
Yeah.
can get them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I made the mistake of trying to relive nostalgia, and I've decided it's good to do it once, but sometimes
Yeah.
it's not always the way.
Yeah. So yeah, like, and then I had a couple of cars before eventually I needed a van for work.
Yeah.
And that wasn't that many years after. So I bought my first van for £500, which was, I've had a lot of rubbish vehicles. Let's just put that out there. So I had
Yeah.
an Nova. Then I had like a Civic, which was actually amazing, like an old shape Civic,
Yeah.
which I paid like £400 for. Drove the hell out of that thing.
Yeah.
I did have a lot of fun in that. It was on 2 wheels quite often. Then I had a Volvo, which was £200. A 440 GL, must have weighed about 6 tons.
440.
It's a really
rear-wheel
blocky
drive?
shape.
Rear-wheel
It's like a
drive?
cavalier. Yeah.
Awful thing.
Yeah.
It's like a block of cheese, isn't it?
Yeah. Weighed a lot. It was 1.7 diesel flat. You know, no, it just didn't go anywhere. Then I got my first van, and then it was just vans, like for work and for riding. And then like fortunately come back around to like just being in a position where I could get a car, I suppose, as well as having the van. And it's been in the last really the last 5-10 years.
Yeah.
And I love them. Like I've always liked cars and always enjoyed it, but it's been more recently that I've dabbled.
What's the car that you were? Didn't you stack a car and someone drove past and said you can't park that there, mate?
They did, and it was very soon after I crashed it. And fortunately, I could see the funny side because I would have loved to have done that myself.
I can't wait to do it. I can't park there.
Yeah, that was interesting. So I crashed. Had a 1975 Corvette C3 Stingray, beautiful car. Like really, really. Yeah, I loved the shape of it. But obviously, a Chevy V8 sounded amazing. Proper. When you talk about nostalgia, like being that thing with this big, thin steering wheel, like old radio, class.
Yeah,
really,
that's
really
class.
good. And American. I love old American cars.
Yeah.
But right foot was a little bit heavy. Stepped out, thought I'd saved it, and the next thing I know, I was in the central reservation. This was the day after I just come out of hospital having surgery on my leg, so I was kind of like, as I'm headed towards central reservation, I'm thinking, oh no. But yeah, I was absolutely fine. Had to ditch the car there because it wouldn't drive. It was cut out and wouldn't start. And to be fair, the back wheel was hanging off, so it probably wouldn't have driven off. Got onto the hard shoulder. First thing was just someone pulling over and go, can't park there.
I bet he drove away thinking my life is complete.
And then the next thing was like just kind of thinking, just having a bit of a plan. Like, right, what am I going to do? I'm not going to phone my wife, Liz. It's like she'll just stress about it. She'll worry. So I'll phone recovery, just get it picked up, find out a way of getting home, and then I'll tell her this evening. About 3 minutes later, I get a phone call. You okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Have you crashed a car? Oh, yeah, I have. You okay? Yeah. Dickhead. Hangs up.
How did she know?
What's this? I hadn't told anyone.
Not many.
But it turns out if you've got a bright red American sports car, word gets about pretty quick. So like I had people messaging me there and just going, oh yeah. So
That's
the guys
class.
at Baffle, they were, they'd sort of heard because someone had come into Baffle and said they thought it was must have been Ollie that had crashed it. And I just got the police to give me a lift to Costa Coffee, collected my thoughts.
Yeah.
And, I actually phoned Ollie then, and Ollie came and picked me up and took me home. So, it was an embarrassing moment, if I'm honest.
Brilliant.
Was it raining?
It was greasy, should we say?
That's all right then.
That's right.
Fair enough. What is that Saab? Is it a Saab that you have?
Yeah.
Is it like a resto mod or?
Yeah, it's a resto mod. So
That's
it's
cool.
it's a 70s. It's a Saab 96. So that's the model, which is like 73, I think. This one, and it's been resto modded and completely altered, effectively, like to change the look and shape of it, and then fitted onto a Saab 9.3. So you got like modern running gear,
Right.
with, I would say, classic styling, but it's kind of like outlandish, reimagined classic styling. I absolutely love it. It was just, obviously, I couldn't say it's something I always wanted because I'd never there's only one, and I'd never seen it before.
I didn't even know what it was. You can't.
No one does.
You can't make it out
That's
as a
what I
Saab,
like.
can you?
It's like no one. Some people pick it out and they're like,
Do they?
oh, it's and they can kind of figure it out, but they've got to be like, they're either Saab fans or they're like, it's all the people who remember that car, whereas most people just genuinely don't have a clue what it is.
But it looks special. Was it resto modded in this country, or was it?
Yes. I really want to go down to the garage where it was done. I haven't had the opportunity yet, but I would love to do that because I've seen there's a forum with the whole build and like a load of photos and like what their plan was at the start. So it's a Saab specialist. They're not a dealership. They just work on Saabs. I think they're from Watford. And their workmanship's like unreal, so they just had this vision and then they've done it as like a sideline hobby project. I think a little bit to show off like their skills and what they can do, and just because they love it. And there's pages and pages. It took them 4 years, because they obviously weren't doing it as a full-time project. The workmanship and the
engine wise in that, is it like a 4-cylinder turbo? Or?
2-liter turbo, auto box. So it's the B204 engine.
They put that in other stuff, don't they? They can share it with Vauxhall platform, I think, can't they?
And it can be, you can get a lot more performance out of it. It goes quite well. Like, to be fair, it goes pretty good. But I'm just mindful that you haven't got safety features.
No.
And it's got like super thin tires as well, which are quite good because that limits. It's self-limiting. So when I first got it, I was like, I'll get it chipped and do some of the mods. And I've driven it a few times. I'm like, that's not what it's for. That is, it's a beautiful car. It's a really completely unique car. There's one in the world.
That's
so
class.
I just want to keep it.
It'd be nice to burn off a Lamborghini at the lights, so
bit
of a sleeper.
It's just nice to keep it for what it's meant, which is just like a nice little cruiser.
You're older and wiser now, mate.
Yeah. I know better. Maybe.
I was going to say,
I don't know.
Better, we've just been talking about the fact that you don't.
Yeah.
Which is good. I'm trying to think of anything else then to delve into the dark depths of Rowan Sorrell.
He rides horses, I reckon, as well. He's a bit of a cowboy on the quiet.
Shetland pony, isn't it?
Is that what makes you think that? Yeah.
Well, I've been round your house. You got a horse or two knocking around there. Hi, Liz.
Hi, Liz. She's long-suffering wife, very patient. So we have 2 donkeys and 2 ponies and 2 cats. We have everything in 2s, basically.
What happened to the it's like Noah's Ark, isn't it?
Yeah.
What happens to the ponies? They had to go to fat camp, didn't they?
Yeah, we sent them to fat camp, boot camp. They're back now. They're
back,
looking good.
trim.
They're in shape. Yeah.
They
were embarrassing, whereas we're proud of them again now.
Kept them in the backfield to do before. Was there a story talking about Liz where you were injured and then you got a drone and then sent Liz to go and get the drone or something? Did you? Have I made that up?
Well, no. There's a story about a drone. Yeah. Liz helped me again. Yeah. It was one of the times I broke my leg. A while ago now is when drones were kind of first come out in a decent format. So the original DJI.
Yeah. Is that the Maverick? No, that's not the Maverick. No,
DJI is kind of
yeah.
probably the leader in like
Yeah.
the drones, or certainly they brought out some of the more accessible, easy to use ones, mass market. But back then they were quite big, you know, so it's sort of a drone like this size, and quite expensive. You know, they're not cheap. I think they are cheaper now. And I just thought, I'm going to be stuck at home. That'll be quite cool, you know, get a drone, learn to fly it around. But I kind of like to try and shortcut things. So I didn't like even read the manual. That's kind of a standard thing, right?
Yeah, for a man,
Yeah, took off, gave it a little like 1 minute fly around the yard very gently, just where I could see it. Yeah. And I was like, that's all right. You know, that's
got
not
this.
too bad. These things are cool. And then at my place, it's like in front of the house, it's like a little valley, like a short, steep valley with trees and whatever else. And I thought, it'd be awesome to fly it down the valley. So this was like minute 3 now. Just flew it down there. It's out of sight. I'm like trying to figure it out. And smashed it into a tree. I had to get Liz to go and recover it. So that was the start of the problem. So Liz brought it back. It's looking like a little bit like bashed up. So I thought, hopefully it's all right. It looked superficial damage. Yeah. Fired it up, turned it on, fired it up. And it just went. I'm like, shit. And like literally everything I did with it did nothing. It had just
went straight up
to Jupiter. And I'm like, this thing's just, I've had it for 3 minutes. It's gone.
And now it's just hit the A647 over to Tenerife or something.
It's doing that, and I'm like stressing out, going, oh, shit. And I'm just pulling down, obviously trying to make it come down. And then all of a sudden I'm like, I think it looks a bit closer.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. And it's just coming down like a stone. It just goes as fast as it went up and just piled into the floor about 100 meters from where I was and was just mangled.
No good.
And that was that.
That's your drone experience. Job
they
done.
Didn't accept the warranty claim. Yeah.
It's faulty.
Outrageous.
Faulty. Yeah, I thought I'd heard that story. Last question from me. It's like an interview. Have you smelt anything as bad as my riding boots? It's a rumor. I think it's
nothing on you.
I think it's a rumor though. I think you were kind of playing on it, making it.
I wish that was true. No, they were bad. We had to leave them outside the room.
Yeah, every time they had to be outside the room because they just stunk so bad.
That was an important rule. I'm not sure I would have made it through the week otherwise.
Maybe not, but there we go.
Yeah.
Right then.
Very smelly feet.
Yeah, I'm proud of them. Right. That was superb. I learned a lot because we've all known each other for like 4 or 5 years, but I was really intrigued in terms of the Bike Park Wales journey because I bet from the outside looking in, it's like, oh yeah, it's just happened, and but I bet the work that's gone on behind closed doors, the work that went on in those 3 or 4 years of from the concept to actually opening your doors, that for me, I bet that was kind of quite hairy in terms of trying to get things moving, trying to negotiate with like forestry commission. You know, there's areas I bet that were out of your control to a degree, and trying to kind of, you know, you're banking your dream on something where you need a decision made by someone that's kind of detached from it, if you like.
All of that. Yeah, 100%. I mean, the one thing I didn't mention, which is we had to pitch the idea to the forestry. Yeah. So we'd obviously come up with this concept and plan, and we got in contact, and we went in sort of in a Dragon's Den sort of style thing, but they didn't know for sure what we were going to go in, and we just went in and pitched this vision, and they liked it. Right. But they were like, okay, we're not in a position to be able to move forwards with you. There were a few things at play, and there was this potential of some grant funding, and it essentially meant that we had to wait and tender for the opportunity.
Tender for your own opportunity?
Of exactly.
Did
And
you
it wa-
really?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and there was a long period, but like
Yeah.
it was a year and a half from
Yeah.
that initial like pitch until the tender came out, and we were just told there would be a tender and it would be like in line with your pitch and your vision. So that was incredibly stressful.
I bet it was.
And then when it actually went public, so effectively the tender had a lot of our ideas in it. And the way they ran the tender, it's called a competitive dialogue. So it was actually like, we're looking at it from the other side, it was great for the outcome because it pushed everyone. Like our idea had to go up because you were in direct competition with all these others, but very, very stressful. So you're right. Yeah, there was all sorts of things which were out of our control, and we were all working full-time jobs as well. You know, it was all like,
and that's what I was thinking, because otherwise there's a cash flow problem, isn't there? If you're trying to get an idea off the ground and it's taking that long, you've got to live and survive in that period as well.
So we had we set up the limited company in 2009, but we were all working full-time jobs.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Because I've been in similar positions where the type of work I do, we have to sometimes tender for things, but there are, I won't name any clients, but there are some clients where, public sector clients, where we've done work and actually gone, look, there's an opportunity here for you. You can do X, Y, and Z. And we've done kind of discovery work for them and said, this is the concept. And then, because public sector, probably similar to you, are bound by strict procurement rules, etc., they've gone, actually, we can't do a direct reward. We've got to go out to tender. And then use all of your good work and all of your kind of intellectual property to go, oh, this is what we want, guys. So you've come up with the idea, you've created the kind of narrative behind it, and then others are going, oh, and we've actually lost work on the back of that then, because we've tendered for it and then lost it.
Yeah, it's a really difficult situation, and it's just the way that public sector versus private, you know, that's just how it's set up. But yeah, it's tough. And I don't think we would have handled being on the wrong end of it. You know, we put so much into it. I think it would have broken us all.
Yeah, that's so. Yeah.
And how long did that go on for? That uncertainty sort of period.
It was 2 years. Yeah, until we knew, and then we got awarded the tender, and then there was time. There was still a lot of uncertainty from the award of tender because we had to secure the funding then and get planning.
I'm pretty sure that happened, you know, with what was on the front, that
skate park? No,
not the skate park. Further down, what was it? Not wakeboarding.
Oh, the tidal pool. No.
Someone had an idea to do, what's it called? Kite surfing.
Okay.
Oh, right. Okay.
And I think that went out to tender, and I think someone did pinch their idea and actually got awarded it from the council.
That's
got
to be frustrating. Tough. No, I don't.
Yeah,
but because it's your passion, isn't it? And that's I was meant to kind of round it off here.
Yeah,
but
sorry.
no, it's good. But because I bet I would find that a little bit frustrating if I was in your shoes and people go, yeah, well, it's just a bike park, and you're so lucky because you've got all these facilities, and not really understand the stresses and the complexities of running the 5 businesses, interlocking them, having that strategy in terms of the growth, you know, going through COVID as well, and things like that, where your business plan falls flat on its face.
Did it work well in your favour to do a lot of like trail building and stuff? So I was following on social media and stuff.
I think we definitely made the best of a really bad situation.
Yeah,
it was horrendous, and I would never, you know, want any of the team to have to go through it again.
No,
but
not.
I think as a management team, some good decisions were made that actually enabled us to keep some of the core team going through the period, actually working in employment rather than just on furlough. Yeah, and we managed to do some development. So when we did, we lost loads of money, obviously, because it was just like someone turns the tap off. But we survived, and then when we did relaunch, we had more. You know, we had some good news stories for our customers. They could come and ride some new trails or revamp trails. So Yeah,
brilliant.
it was okay.
Something I forgot to mention earlier. What did you do locally in our area here with Climb? Were you something to do with the start of that when that grew?
Yeah, we with the trail building company. So
Yeah.
back on track, we worked with local like rider group.
Yeah.
And Swansea Council to just try and formalise and create a small, I mean, I call it like a cross-country route, but like a classic like trail loop, because there's always been riding incline,
Yeah, of course.
informally, and it was just a way of kind of making a more consistent and graded and safer product.
Cool.
And then you've got, you know, the wilder stuff on the edges, because there's some amazing stuff up in those woods.
Yeah.
The
We're
dirt
lucky
jump
to have
site
that locally,
is,
aren't we?
We were talking about it the other day because I sent you remember the bike, the jumps, that jump pack, and I sent that video, didn't I? And it's thousands of hours have gone into that, because that's not machine made, is it? I guess
Where are
that's
we now?
all handmade.
Incline.
You know, Incline. You know the
Incline.
big jump park.
Moves, is it?
it's called
Moves?
it's called Moves.
Oh, is it?
And
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it's known as. And it's been there for, I don't know, at least 15 years, maybe 20
Cool.
years. And
That's-
it is a work of art.
It's
and it is a
unbelievable.
testament. I got a shout out to Digger Dan. So Dan is kind of like the person who's
Right.
done the lion's share of all of that digging on his own.
You're joking.
He's had
One person.
Other people have helped, but you know he's Instagram's Trail Boss Dan.
Trail Boss Dan.
Yeah.
Right, I'll give him a follow.
Well done, Dan boy.
Yeah.
So yeah, he doesn't ride it now, but he still kind of oversees it, you know.
Because I go there in the summer. I think it was either you or Kev that showed me it when I first moved here. So I go there when I ride and just to hope to see someone ride it, but I've never seen it. And you know, it's always under wraps. But it'd be
Yeah.
great to give him a follow and see if anyone rides it, because I bet that's impressive. It's massive.
are a
Some
couple
of
of
those
videos.
hits are massive, aren't
There's a
they?
couple of videos
Yeah,
on
it's big.
there.
Yeah, are they?
Yeah, I've seen a few videos. That's impressive.
I wonder if the XR50 would be able to go on it. That'd be good, wouldn't it?
Crusty Demons of Dirt.
Yeah, Crusty Demons of...
They don't like
Yeah.
moto up there.
No, they don't. No, I don't think they'll... Right.
Yeah. Could you give us a like and subscribe, please, chaps, and drop a comment underneath if you enjoyed today's video.
Yeah, and massive thanks to you,
yeah.
sir. This has been in the cookbooks for a while now, isn't it? A couple of months. But yeah, thanks for making the 1 hour 40-minute pilgrimage down.
Yeah.
Super interesting chat.
Anytime.
And,
No, it's been really
Wish you all the
good.
best
Yeah.
for the future,
Enjoy
mate,
it.
as well. Obviously, it's bright.
Yeah. And then see you on the Dragon Rally
Yeah.
drive.
I'm very much looking forward to
I'm
that.
looking forward to that as well. So that'll be good. I'm sure there'll be some stories coming out of that as well.
I would say
I
so.
was going to take 1 or 2 microphones on that and get some in the hotels. Get some.
Yeah, we could do.
Sounds dodgy, didn't it? Get some updates. Anyway, thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for
Cheers now. Bye.
Cheers.
Boom, boom.